Ayo, and what is up, gang? Thank you so much for checking out Sledgehammer TV today for this very special edition, this debut relaunch of our Hollywood movie review show, formerly known as the It's True Hollywood Review, now and forevermore known as Hammering Hollywood. My name is Nick Nightmare, this is Blue Snowball Microphone, and come along with us as we dive into the world of the Cloverfield Paradox right here and right now on the very first edition of Hammering Hollywood. Thanks for joining us. Alright, movie fans! Thank you so much for joining me here on the channel today. The Cloverfield Paradox dropped on Netflix in an absolutely genius marketing maneuver by the company and by Netflix. During the Super Bowl, they were like, hey, Netflix, here we are. Look at what we got. We got the Cloverfield Paradox, the sequel in the Cloverfield Universe, the third installment for you to feast your eyes upon. And guess what? Not only do we have it, but we got it right now. It's available. Finish watching the game and go check it out. And I didn't even finish watching the game. I immediately stopped watching the game because I didn't give two shits about whether or not the Eagles defeated the Patriots or vice versa. Neither one of them are my cup of tea, as I am a New York guy and I could care less about any of that. This was immediately what I was looking forward to, as I am a very big science fiction fan. Cloverfield, one of my favorite franchises, although it is one of the franchises that just drives me insane. Very much like professional wrestling. If you have not noticed with the paraphernalia around me, this is predominantly a pro wrestling channel. But we do enjoy movies and we love sci-fi, and I have a lot to say. And I need to bring it out there to you guys, and we are going to discuss and go over the logic in the ending of the Cloverfield Paradox, as this movie was promised to be the movie that would bridge the gap between all the previous installments thus far and will lead us to the upcoming Cloverfield 4 Overlord, which I absolutely, at this point, I don't even know if I want to see that. And that's not anything against the guys, you know, and what they're coming up with. It's just, I don't think what they did here in this movie is exactly what I was expecting. And before we start to tear it up and really delve into it, as a standalone feature, the Cloverfield Paradox, it hits all the necessary beats. It's a pretty decent sci-fi thriller. It actually reminded me a little bit of Danny Boyle's classic Sunshine. Remember that movie where the sun went out and they had to go up and repower the sun? It follows very much along the lines of that kind of a plot. You know, there's a space station, they got to get this mission done to save the world, although there are very big risks in doing so, and then there's somebody on the station that wants to stop the whole thing from happening altogether. It's essentially the same movie. This one being set in the world of the Cloverfield Universe, and it is a much beloved world by many of us, and this movie has given you a very clear explanation. It really is there. If you look and you listen, and I've watched it a couple of times now, the explanation is there. And it pretty much is stating that the events of the Cloverfield Paradox, which are happening in the year 2028, when they fire the Shepard Particle and send them into an alternate universe, they created a rift in the fabric of space and time. They ripped open a hole that stretched across dimensions and across time. I can accept that. I understand that. Fine. Adding the different dimensions essentially creates massive confusion in the timeline as a movie viewer, because you don't know, they don't give you any, you know, juxtaposition as to where you are in the universe when you're watching 10 Cloverfield Lane. Is this Earth 2, Earth 3, Earth 27? Is this the Cloverfield Universe, Earth 48, whatever it is? We have no idea what truly links to one another. There are a lot of Easter eggs that are hidden within this movie that do lend to the fact that they're all somewhat connected, but they're only connected as mirrors of what we have seen in the previous movie. Now, again, that makes everything all muddled up and it gets all confused in your head. Because, essentially, if each movie is happening on a different Earth, or on a different version of Earth in a different dimension somewhere else, to me that's a cop-out. To me that's a cop-out way to explain what happened in the 2008 massive hit Cloverfield. I don't understand the logic here, but I will give them a pass. Okay, they wrapped it all up with this pretty bow, and it makes sense. They created this thing. It's created multiple events in multiple versions of Earth where the Cloverfield monster emerges, or as in 10 Cloverfield Lane, we have an alien attack where they're poisoning the air and trying to rid the world of the human race. And now we have this one, where we're not actually too sure what's going on either one of the Earths. There seems to be turmoil on one Earth, and then on the other Earth there's already a alien attack going on. As soon as the particle emitter was generated, it's very confusing in there. But I need to bring to light, even though that explanation is fine and all well and good, I'll give it to you. You did it, alright? You connected all three in this very, overly scientific, unimpressive way. Like I said, it's a cop-out to me. It's just a way for them to say, hey, anything could happen at any time, anywhere. We'll just say it's on another Earth, and we could write whatever new Cloverfield story we want. Which is why I'm not looking forward to this new Overlord, where they're going to have, like, zombie Nazi soldiers taking over at the beginning of World War II. Like, I don't watch Cloverfield for zombie Nazis. I want to see giant Clovey, the monster, doing havoc, wreaking destruction. That's not what we get here. But here, my friends, is the very, very big problem with this explanation, and it lies within this movie, Cloverfield Paradox. Spoilers ahead, in case I haven't already said that. If you're still here and you haven't been spoiled already, I apologize if I spoiled anything for you, but here's your formal warning. We are going to get into the meat and potatoes of this movie right now. The Cloverfield Paradox, the Cloverfield space station, right? When it gets shot into the other dimension, we were told, and it was explained, that when that happened, the space station that was already there was crashed to the Earth. If that space station crashed upon this event happening, why wasn't Mina on her space station? How the hell did she end up wrapped up in wires in the wall? Why was she the only one? Why didn't the rest of the crew, the doppelgangers or the alternate universe versions of Monk and Mundy and all the other guys, why were they dead on the space station but Mina was special? Because she wasn't Tam? Because she was the one difference in the crew, so she got spared by the dimension and sent into the wall? Are the rest of the crew just essentially dead in the walls of the new space station while the other one crashed to Earth with nobody in it? That didn't make sense to me. But even if we put aside all the Mina nonsense and the woman in the wall and all this shit, what is the explanation for everything that is happening on the Cloverfield space station? They say that the dimension doesn't want them there. The dimension or the universe is fighting back because they are an anomaly. They do not belong in this universe. So you got Mundy getting his arm caught in the ship itself. The magnet putty is attacking people. You got people losing their mind and going crazy. That Russian guy popped his eye out. He's all full of worms. He's got the gyroscope in his stomach. The pictures and everything on the walls are changing to show the other world's Cloverfield space station. It has plans for a German invasion or a Russian invasion that were not initially there, but they are real if you are talking about the dimension that they're in. You see how confusing this gets? But follow me here. If the dimension is fighting to rid itself of this anomaly, why isn't that happening across space and time with the Cloverfield monsters and the alien attacks? Wouldn't it stand to reason that if the dimension is trying to correct itself, all these rips and all these things that have happened wouldn't they be trying to correct themselves as well? So your main antagonist in this movie is the dimension in and of itself. It is trying to kill and crash the space station, kill the entire crew, and set things right in the dimension. So why isn't this happening on Earth in 2028, where you got Michael running around down there, you got monsters twice the size of Clovey destroying the world all over the place, multiple attacks, as he's used the plural to say, why is she coming back to these monsters? But nothing is trying to correct itself there. You know, the universe isn't just like having the trees grab Clovey and assimilate him into the Earth, because that's kind of what should be happening then. If that's the reason behind the Cloverfield Paradox, then that's what should be happening as well everywhere else throughout the universe. There's an anomaly in this dimension. This thing doesn't belong here. The dimension is going to set itself right. But that doesn't apply to the previous two movies. That doesn't apply to anything that's going to come. It's just okay everywhere else, but only on this space station does the rules of reality not apply. How does that make sense to anybody? That is something that I don't hear anybody talking about. I've watched Screen Rant, I've watched Looper, I've checked out all these other big name Hollywood review sites just to try to get a better understanding of the movie, because I was so confused at the end of it how it all lines up. And then they want to have the balls to make the last shot of this movie a mirror image of the final image of Cloverfield 2008, as if to say that this happens at this moment and it triggers everything to follow. But clearly the monster that emerged at the end was almost like 100 times the size of the one that we previously got to see in Cloverfield 2008. It's just a very, very bad explanation when within the movie that you just made, you broke all of the rules that you've seemingly set in place. No, I didn't dislike this movie. I really did. Like I said, I enjoyed it as a movie. When I sit there and try to, you know, do my best Law and Order, putting things together, Pepe Sylvia, you know, trying to get things in order, it just racks my brain, and I can't deal with it. I can't deal with it. And when I see a huge logic gap like that, it made me feel compelled to come here and make sure you guys understand that as well. Because, sure, I enjoyed it. At the end, it was great to see Clovey pop up. Fantastic. You know, maybe that's Mama Clovey. Maybe the next movie we're going to see it. Maybe not. Because it'll be set on some other Earth and some other world and some alternate dimension. I don't like that. I don't like that. Some of you may like it because it opens up the entire world and anything can happen. But when anything can happen, what does it matter what happens? Because it has no ramifications to what we are watching as a follower of the franchise. If you can't connect 2008 to 2016 to 2028, then what's the point of them all existing? The connection point now is the Shepard Particle, the Cloverfield Paradox, and it was a good movie. But the explanation is dog shit. I don't like it. I don't agree with it whatsoever. And I found the big hole in it, which is what I stated to you earlier. It's very, very simple. If the dimension is trying to correct itself in 2028 and eliminating all of the anomalies that do not belong in it, why didn't that happen in 2008? Why didn't it happen in 2016? And why isn't it going to happen in 1945 or wherever it is they're going to set Overlord? That's my thoughts. That's how we're going to wrap this one up. This has been our review of the Cloverfield Paradox. We're not going over all the Easter eggs and all over all the little secrets and stuff. You guys know where to go if you want to watch that stuff. There's no way for me to compete with these guys. I am here to bring the hammer down on the world of Hollywood when they make me pissed off and they don't make sense. Just like I do on the world of pro wrestling, and I hold nothing back and we pull no punches. And that, my friends at Netflix and Bad Robot and the Cloverfield Paradox whole writing team, is a very, very big hole that you left in there that makes everything else seemingly not make sense. Thank you guys for joining me. My name is Nick Nightmare. This is Blue the Snowball Microphone. This has been Hammering Hollywood, right here on Sledgehammer TV. If you are not a subscriber and you enjoyed today's broadcast, make sure you join the family, especially if you're a pro wrestling fan, and make sure you get your fill of all the pro wrestling content that we have here. But if you're only into movies and you enjoyed what I had to say and you think I'm pretty smart, and you're thankful for me for bringing all this to your attention, make sure you come back for more, because we've got a little bit of something we want to say about The Last Jedi as well. Something I'm not hearing anybody talk about that just kind of creeped its way into my brain, and we are going to bring that one to you guys as well very soon, right here on Hammering Hollywood, only on Sledgehammer TV. Thank you guys so much, and we will see you next time, right here on Sledgehammer TV. I don't have a good outro for this show. Like I said, this is the first time I'm doing it, so I got to come up with a nice little saying to roll myself out of here like we have for this Sledgehammer Wrestling show. But, you know, we'll get there. This is the first one. So, right here on Hammering Hollywood, we will see you next time. I love you guys. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I'm Nick Nightmare. We'll talk to you later.